I got a bunch of tacos. And what the heck is directing?
You can pick cool camera angles. You can be a director.
Usually we'll film with guns there and not get shot by the LAPD.
Let's say I want to get into the movie business.
All right.
How do I do that, Jude?
Here's what you do.
This is Jude Wacko. Jude produced Rush, that Battlefield thing we did.
it for the rush.
Jude produced Lifeline, the YouTube Red series we made.
Can you smell what the rock's cooking?
And Jude just finished his first ever directorial debut called The Incantation, which is a horror movie.
But it's thriller, horror, and fantasy all mixed in. A little bit of everything.
That's super cool. The reason Jude is here is because Jude is a bona fide, experienced Hollywood producer who's made films of all types, all varieties, all sizes.
Yes.
And he has lots of war stories and interesting tidbits and tips and facts, all these crazy things to share with you. All right, so then what the heck is directing? Let's say I want to get into the movie business.
All right.
How do I do that, Jude? What do most people not know about being a producer or director, though? How do you know when to say no to something creative versus when to say yes?
Does the director find a producer, or does the producer find the director?
I used to think like old abstract paintings are really dumb. Took some classes on this stuff and I learned about the context and the history and what goes into this. Suddenly the paintings become much more admirable and you can respect them and you can understand them and you get a deeper understanding of the art.
Yeah.
And hopefully through interviews like this and talking to Jude, you guys are getting a little bit of a deeper understanding and more appreciation out of your movies. We're trying to make your movies better for you. Yeah. Jude, what is it that you do?
Producing is like being the main jefe in charge again. Imagine if you own a restaurant, for example. Not only are you probably have a good culinary background and you're the chef, but you also have to manage your employees, you have to manage the things that are coming in, all the supplies, and the truck drivers that show up, and the people that open up, the people that clean it, and all that. So it's like so much stuff. So that's basically what a producer does. Like, we do everything. We handle everyone's individual needs and wants, the logistics of the production, the money part, all the executives that think they're better than everybody else. Like, it's a combination of all that stuff. It does change movie by movie because of politics. I always go back to like woman that runs the social club at the church, because she's like, it's her little world and she has the power. She's like, no, I said no vanilla cupcakes to the bazaar. You know, so it's like that. So like, you have that church lady in every film. You might have 5 of those church ladies. So you have to appease them, because if they work for X brand or X network or X studio, they're in power there. Even though, like for example, I have 25 years plus experience, but still, I can't go in there and say, hey, this is how we've been doing it since the Kubrick days. You know, like, she's like, well, no vanilla cupcakes, I told you, man. So, turn here?
Yep.
Cool.
Then we should find someplace to park. If somebody comes and yells at us, we'll move the car.
Whoops, rental.
But so you directed for your first time.
I did, yes.
Like, you haven't done like any commercial directing or short directing?
Well,
was this like your very...
officially on paper, it's definitely my directorial debut.
Alright, so then what the heck is directing?
What is directing? Oh God, directing. Directing is madness, is what it is. As you know, you're a director as well. To me, the main thing about directing is the shot list is the most important thing, because you're playing the movie back over and over in your head and you're hoping it works, and you can see it. Of course, you have your vision, that's what everybody calls it, but is the physical thing that you see, is this box exactly the way that I pictured it in my mind? And oftentimes it's not, and that's part of the whole process. That's one aspect. The other aspect is, of course, getting into the actors' heads, right? That's really hard to do. And then, of course, the logistic that creeps in, which is why you gotta have a good producer, but it always creeps in, because when you're a director, you have to make a decision. You kind of have to have both hats a little bit, but being director, you want to be like 90% focused on the creative.
Today, Nico and I are location scouting for Urban Zelda. This location needs to be kind of a grungy looking location to fit the whole sci-fi post-apocalyptic vibe that we're going for. It's getting harder and harder to find locations in LA. Hunter Street, we've recycled and used so many times, but even Hunter Street's becoming difficult to shoot. I mean, look at it right now. It's kind of busy, so we can't really shoot here. We're gonna be scouting Los Angeles, looking for a street that is open enough and quiet enough for us to shoot there. What else do you think? Usually we'll film with guns there and not get shot by the LAPD. That's a big one.
I mean, this street looks freaking amazing.
We film here all the time.
I mean, ideally this right here is perfect.
What about in there? In there, we could do whatever we want.
I don't know what it looks like. There's somebody outside. Obviously, it's really loud because we are currently under a freeway. So that's not going to be great for sound, but aesthetically, it looks perfect. It's beautiful. I mean, if you look up, you got like some nice concrete. And you look up, and then on the ground level, it's open enough to do what we need to do. There's enough barricades and whatnot for the scene to work. This would be ideal, honestly. I really like what I'm seeing here.
So there's a video of these guys filming a bank robbery scene in some city. The cops are called because somebody thinks that there's a bank robbery actually happening, and one of the actors steps out the door with his fake gun, and the cop fires a shot at him out of like reflex as he gets scared at this guy having a gun, which is totally reasonable. Thankfully he misses and doesn't hit the guy. The guy's like, oh, it's a fake gun. It's like, no dude, you get down on the ground when the cops tell you to get down on the ground. You worry about your innocence in court. We don't want that to happen here. If you're brandishing fake guns, people call the cops thinking you have real guns, then you f***ed up. In most cities you would call dispatch and tell them what's going on. So if people called the police, the dispatch, the police could explain what's happening. The police wouldn't freak out. They wouldn't come get you. Here it's a little bit different in that you don't want to have that even happen in the first place. You don't want anybody calling the cops. So you have to make sure you've communicated to everybody around here that you're filming, and you have to make sure that it's visibly clear that you're filming. That cop walking by the bank, having the actors step out to the street, an uncontrolled environment with no production assistants on set, no signs, no crew, and he just steps on the street with a fake gun, that's dumb. And that's what you can't do here. So if you have a guy with a gun, you need to make sure you have the crew, you have the cameras, you have signs, you inform the neighbors, etc., so no one calls the cops thinking that there's a robbery going on.
So, at the end of the day, I think location-wise, I think we have a good 3 options. We have really good options.
So what do most people not know about being a producer or director though? What are some things that like you generally wouldn't guess that you have to deal with?
I think an important thing that people don't know is that you have to be a real people person, and that's something because you see the glamour in Hollywood and people think of the red carpet. People think, oh, if you just have a creative eye and you can pick cool camera angles, you can be a director. It's way more than that, but a lot of it's working with people because you got to work with the DP, you work with your keys. Some of the actors are really emotional because they get paid to be emotional, so even in their private lives, they're just like all over the place. So you have to take all these different types of people and get them to get on the same page, the script page, and see your vision and mold them into this, and you got to be a leader. I don't know if people think that being able to manage people.
So now you've seen both sides of it. How do you know when to say no to something creative versus when to say yes?
Put the money on the screen. Usually new directors get in there and they're like, oh, I need to have whatever. I need to have a helicopter. I need to have a super techno crane, and I need to have all these crazy things which you don't really need. Obviously you've read the scripts. If you're a producer, you're there from the beginning. You know the story. You know the important beats to hit and the important creative to hit. So you can kind of judge a director right away and be like, okay, this guy gets it and he knows what's going to be great and what's just toys for toys' sake, which is not a good thing.
Does the director find a producer, or does the producer find the director?
The question is which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, normally on a project, it's the producer. So normally someone will own the rights to it. A studio or whoever, a financer will get behind it, and they'll say, okay, we want to make this project, who's a good director? And then they'll think of directors who fit in this style, or maybe who are up and coming or are hot, trending, and they'll say, let's go after that guy. The money has to come first.
I got a bunch of tacos. I think these are my beef tacos. These are the idle ones.
These are definitely the vegans.
Okay. Well, I started in the business basically getting the coffee. I was a PA, a production assistant, and making phone calls and stuff. Like the first one I ever did was probably one of the biggest. It was called Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, and it was like 125 million bucks, which back then was huge. Now that's not really that big with all the Marvel movies and stuff. So I did that, and then I got under the wing of some people at Fox, so I started working on a bunch of Fox stuff. So I'd have to look at my because they all blend together. But
Sorry, one's there.
Those are delicious.
Glad you like them. See, the problem is I'm gonna have Jude do all the talking.
yeah,
So I'm gonna be doing all the eating. And if the camera's being shaky, it's because Carmichael's holding it with one hand while eating with the other. You could just not film this part.
good.
I got thousands of questions.
1,000 answers.
Today's Monday, we're shooting in 3 days. I'm just coming out here right now to take some quick shots using the rig that we'll be using when we're shooting the actual piece. I just want to get a feel for, how the sunlight looks, where the sunlight's hitting, just getting an overall idea of like what I can use. That way when I go back into the office, I can create a LUT input this lot into the camera. That way, on the day of, I'm having a very clear idea of what I'm getting. The success of your short or film or whatever project that you're doing is highly, highly, highly correlated to the amount of prep work that you do. There will always, I guarantee you, always be unknown variables that will pop up on a film shoot, and it is up to you to figure out how to navigate those unknown variables. But if you have, let's just say, 90% of your script figured out on how you're going to engage that project, you will have a better outcome. I guarantee you. Yeah, like already I'm noticing this side of the picture right here, or this side of the location is dark. This is gonna be blown out because it's bright sunlight. I'm gonna be on this side of the line, meaning I'm gonna be shooting mostly that way. I'm not gonna be shooting this way because everything's gonna be blown out. So I already made that decision. Also, this is much more appealing to the eye. Like, you have so much going on with these concrete slabs and parallaxing. Like, that's beautiful. Another thing that I'm noticing right now are cars that might be an issue. We do not control these cars. We do not have this location locked down. So that's gonna be a continuity issue. I know that, but there's nothing I can really do. High school, I started making these silly like movies with my friends, and that's kind of where I learned, like, oh man, I should prep. I can't just show up. The best lessons comes from mistakes. I've learned the most, more so than I've done in film school, by making mistakes on my own shoots. Nice. That's all I need.
You probably want to get into filmmaking, or have thought about getting into filmmaking, or know somebody who's wanted to get into filmmaking. Let's say I want to get into the movie business.
All right.
How do I do that, Jude?
Here's what you do. You quit your job, you leave your family. I'm just kidding. No, you don't. Here's what you do. It's all about connections. We were talking earlier, Carmichael and myself, about how nowadays resume is not as big a thing as ethics and personality and people liking you. That's what it's about. It's about people liking you. I get emails constantly and messages, people going, how do I get in the business? I want to do this, I want to do this. And I say, well, you got to get involved with whatever you have access to. That could be a community theater, it could be high school. I'm sure there's 10 people that you know right now that are making shorts. Help those guys out, work with them. See if you like the industry first. Because a lot of people have this glamorous idea of what the film business is all about. And they don't realize that it's no sleep and a lot of hard work and a lot of stress. Get some experience under your belt, or grab your camera, grab your iPhone, and go out there and start filming stuff. That's how you guys got started. Just cut some stuff together, make some stuff to get a more professional gloss on your stuff. Everyone does that. It's a craft. Do that. Work with anybody, and don't be below it. That's the thing that really bugs me when people go like I want to be an actor. I want to be Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt, but they're like, I don't do extra work. I don't do theater work. Well, screw you, because you have to do that. You have to get that experience. 46 years old. Just recently I was an extra on The Good Place. Once you get into it, whether it's your theater production or your high school or your college or a professional movie set. Just a buddy. Be cool. Show up early, work hard, like make friends, be professional, and they'll remember you and they'll call you back. That's what happened to me. I did like 100 different jobs, and I just had this personality, and people were like, hey, call that guy Jude, like he'll do it. And then some people would say, hey, can you do this? And I'd be like, no, but I can try it, and I'll do really good at it, and I'll learn how to do it. And they said, cool. That alone makes me want to hire you. So come on, try it, see if you can do it, and then I would.
The easiest way to network is to love what you're doing, find other people that love what they're doing, and just do it. And don't worry about getting paid, because if you're looking to get paid, you're not going to have as many opportunities.
Yeah.
Just go out there and start doing it. And ideally you're doing it because you love it. Ideally it's not a grind to go out and do it and not get paid. And I know, you should get paid for your work. But the reality is, when you're starting out, you kind of suck. So you go out and you do it, and you make friends, and you find other people that are passionate about it. And once you do that long enough, somebody gets a job, somebody gets a gig, you're all growing together, and you get called.
And anybody can do it. Anything else in life you want to do, you can actually do it if you stay focused. I would say when you get in the industry at first, it's like college, like picking your major, right? You're like, oh man, I really like literature, but I like theater. Get the basics down. You should pretty early on start to learn what it is you want to do. You know, maybe it takes you a year or two, that's fine, just like a college degree. You may not know your freshman year. But eventually say, okay, I do want to be a director of photography, or I do want to be a director, or I do want to be an actor, because those are different paths, different styles, and different skill sets to have.
If you get a reputation for getting things done, people start to depend on you. When people start to depend on you, you quickly find yourself in a position of leadership.
Absolutely.
And if you're in a position of leadership, you're in a position of value.
He couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Cool. Shall I roll back to the studio?
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to know, Jude,
Yes.
What's the most expensive shot you've ever had to make happen?
The most expensive shot I ever did was a Korean movie that I shot in Thailand called Sunny. 600 extras dressed like soldiers with full military gear. That means guns,
600 guns, 600 helmets, 600
everything,
PDUs.
all of that stuff, all period, mind you, as well. But here's the kicker. We had, imagine the permits for this and the people that needed to be around. 3 helicopters airborne at the same time within a size of probably a soccer field. So you got safety issues, you got permission issues, you got airspace, you got pilots, you got extras, you got actors, and you probably had on that show about 250 crew members in that shot. And then basically
got fuel for the helicopters.
And fuel for the helicopters and all that. So
Do you have blanks or anything on that?
no, that we didn't. But oh, actually, yeah, there was explosions and stuff. That's the whole pyro and deck. I forgot about all that stuff. So basically, in that scene, you have a woman who's looking for her husband in the Vietnam War, and these helicopters are taking off, and it's like a field unit where everyone's dying and their arms are blowing off. So you had special effects and all that. And she runs out to a helicopter and she jumps on. She's like, "Take me to my husband." They're like, "Get out of here!" In the military, and she's like, "I don't care." Oh, is that your place?
That is Missouri.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that was basically it. And that shot probably, let me do some quick math. 3 helicopters, 50, 150, 200. I would say that shot alone probably cost in the realm of $300,000 for that shot.
So that's just a house. You guys just took a house and they go.
Yeah.
How long was that shot in the edit?
That shot was probably 2 minutes.
All right, we're back in the studio from lunch. I've learned a bunch. My brain is heavier. Thanks, Jude.
I thought you were rapping right there.
But Jude's movie is out
Yeah.
on the 31st of July, which
Yeah.
might be when you're seeing this right now. I'm not sure. Go check it out on where?
I really need your guys' help because this is me. Just like these guys got their start from the ground up, so did I. I put all my effort into this. Go check it out on iTunes. We're gonna put the link down there for you called The Incantation. It's starring former Superman Dean Cain, and you'll see my ugly mug in there acting too. So make fun of me all you want. Go check it out. The link's down there.
Now, why iTunes? There's a million ways you can put this video out there.
Yeah,
Why iTunes?
it is other places. It's all over Redbox, Family Video, Amazon, all that stuff. But
Okay.
iTunes is the one that it'll help me because if you guys click on it, for example, it'll get featured on their homepage. And then if it's favored, it'll go up in the corner, and then they might hold it for a month, and then we're all happy. And then I'm coming to your house saying, "Thanks, man."
Consider subscribing. Oh, if you have questions for Jude,
Yeah.
whatever you want, throw them in the comments below. If we get a bunch, we'll do a follow-up. We'll come back and go to lunch again and answer a whole bunch more movie questions.
Each one of these gray hairs was earned on a film set, so I got your back. Let me know.
All right. Cool, man. Well, thanks
Cool,
again.
man. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it, brother.
You bet, man.